Hey, I'm William from the Zombie Star, and this week in comic books we have several number ones to talk about. Last time we didn't have that many number ones, we only had one number one. But this one we have several new issues that came out, and we even have a follow-up issue. So let's begin. This week from Image Comic Books, we saw the release of Home, issue number 1, created by Julio Anta and Anna Weissett. I've always talked about how much I love plays on historical events or significant eras in our history. I really feel it's just an accessible and creative method to explore our history but also express ideas. Currently we see titles like Nottingham, Department of Truth, and Two Moons that use this mechanic to engage readers. Home really stands apart as it is telling a story through an event that is currently occurring in the United States. Julio Anta really felt compelled to address the humanitarian issue that is currently affecting thousands of people from South America seeking asylum in the United States. Home tells a story about a boy and his mother who have no choice but to make the long and dangerous journey to our southern border, where they are met with a broken and cruel immigration system. Without giving too much away, things don't get better for the characters, and absolute terror ensues. This is not going to be for everyone, as it touches on a very sensitive, ongoing, and evolving humanitarian issue. Although I felt the author was neutral, in my opinion, just given the fact that it's character focused and really only is focusing on the events as it afflicts them. Still, artistically, it is unapologetic in depicting the absolute nightmare that is their journey, while still maintaining the characters' innocence and hopeful natures. Anta, even though this is based on true and actual events, Anta mixes fantasy in the story, as I'll just say that the boy begins to display special abilities. Regardless of where you are on this issue, Home is a powerful drama about family and about the lengths one would go to protect those that they love. This is going to be a 5-issue run. I am absolutely loving what they're doing here. We're able to pick up one variant cover. And if this is something that you're into, this is something that interests you, Home is an absolute must-read, and just a really compelling story. Home number 1 from Image Comics. For Marvel Comic Books this week, we got Spider-Man Spider Shadow, written by Chip Zdarsky and illustrated by Pascal Ferry. Other than being written by Zdarsky, who's also writing Stillwater over at Image, I was really drawn to this for it just being a new Spider-Man story and it being a what-if issues, or a what-if series. A what-if series is something that I read as a younger reader and kind of lost touch with them as comic books grew to what they are today. But a what-if series, what they enjoy doing is really changing origin stories or mixing or reversing significant events in the Marvel Universe and creating alternate timelines. Some of my favorite were like, what would happen if the Punisher got the symbiote suit instead of Peter? What would happen if the Vision took over the world? And these would be short runs of these what-if scenarios. What Zdarsky's doing here is proposing, what if Peter had never given up the symbiote suit and kind of started to give in into these darker tendencies? Basically, what would happen if Spider-Man was evil? The story takes a deep dive in the time that Peter spent with the living symbiote, and many familiar faces make appearances in an attempt to really save Peter from self-destruction as the symbiote begins to really get a firm grip on his mental state. The colors and art style are really appropriate for this story and really help give that dire atmosphere as Peter is on this downward spiral. Just as in the recent Symbiote Spider-Man that Marvel recently released, the symbiote suit is just beautifully depicted as that, slithering, oozing alien creature that really just oozes over Peter whenever he jumps into action. Spider-Man fans, this is definitely for you if you're a fan of that time period when Peter was in the black suit and want that kind of alternate story, or you've ever wondered what if something like that had occurred. It's really awesome when Marvel releases things like this, and of course, just written by Chip Zdarsky is just a plus for any Spider-Man fan. So Spider-Man Spider Shadow number 1 released this week, and this is really cool. This is the only cover that we got for it. There were many covers, as this was also a highly anticipated release, but we were only able to get your standard cover, which I think just really gives you a good indication of kind of the mood that this story is providing. Issue 1. From Image Comic Books, Geiger #1, created by Geoff Johns and Gary Frank. Geiger opens up to a desolate and tainted wasteland that once used to be the United States. After the effects of nuclear war have decimated the once habitable country, people have really acclimated to a very grim and just desperate form of survival. And myths and kind of whispers are circulating around the makeshift cities that there's a man that can glow and can walk around outside without any kind of protective gear. I really feel we're getting, issue 1 is just a really foundation setting issue where we're going to begin to explore the journey of a man who's really just on track to get everything back that he lost, and explores the notion of how far you would go to protect your home. The art is grim. It is the settings and character models are very mature and rugged, and of course it does a really good job of providing scope of the effects of what is called in the comic book the unknown war, and beautifully depicts this wasteland. I almost feel that this can be something that could exist inside of the Fallout universe, the video game Fallout universe, or even in like a Mad Max kind of universe. I mean, I can dream, right? Post-apocalyptic fans, action fans, this was a really fun read. I'm really anticipating issue 2. This one got started real quickly with some intense action and with some heavy drama. Geiger #1, this was the only cover that we got. This week from Vault Comic Books, we saw the release of The Picture of Everything Else, issue #3. I'm not sure if I vlogged issue #2, but I think I did issue #1. Pretty sure I did issue #1. This is still a standout title for any readers that love a mystery-style slasher with a supernatural twist to it. So through a series of bizarre and bloody events, main characters Marcel and Alphonse find themselves entangled with a deranged but brilliant artist, and the narrative really starts taking you down this path of murder and mayhem that's brought through life through art. That's all I really want to say without giving too much away. Mohan as the artist here really is stealing the show, as each and every panel is a portrait that is just worthy of a frame. The art mimics any pastel painting that really helps strengthen this story's drama. Fans of art, fans of mystery, horror, suspense, the picture, of everything else is really for you. We picked up one variant cover, which I absolutely love, and I am convinced that one of the main characters is inspired by Salvador Dali, and he's really my favorite artist, so that just makes this book even more awesome. That's all we got for this week in comics. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you all next week to see what we're reading then.